Fun fact, actually really sad fact.
Fun fact, actually really sad fact.
I did slam my finger in a car door yesterday. That is not lip gloss, guys. That is fully bursted blood vessels in my thumb. I am injured, but I did make the video, so I know. What is up, hotties? So last week I tried to film literally this entire video just to get to my laptop to edit, and the sound was non-existent. So I was like, you know, maybe this was just a sign from above being like, you gotta take a break. So I was like, I'll be back next week. You already know what it is. What to watch, Hulu edition. I'm actually really excited for this one because Hulu has some of my favorite shows. So I'm really excited to share some of these with you guys. I really tried my hardest to make sure that these were explicitly Hulu shows because my dad does have the super special Hulu with everything on it, so I try to make sure that these were things that you could find on like the regular Hulu subscription. But if I included a TV show in here that isn't that, please let me know and I will send you virtual love. There's actually really nothing I can do, but I'm just gonna share these shows regardless. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, let's start this one off with a banger. Normal People. My best friend from high school recommended the show to me, and she has just exquisite taste, so I just knew this was gonna be a good show, and I was not disappointed. What I didn't know, however, was that my heart was actually, ow, that did hurt. My heart was in for it. She was in for an emotionally tumultuous journey. So basically the show follows this boy and girl who know each other in high school, and they start a super secret romance, and it follows their lives from high school to college to post-grad, and how their lives will intersect at different points and how they will kind of always find their way back to each other, even though most of the time it's to their detriment. I really like stories like this, stories that happen over a long period of time. What I think is so beautiful about this show, besides how realistic it seems, is how beautifully the characters develop. Sometimes with limited series, it's like, you know, a hit or a miss. You're like, oh, is this like gonna give me what I need? Especially because the episodes are 30 minutes long. So I was really surprised at how much amazing character development there was through the show, and it was just great. It was great. You should really watch it. It is set in Ireland, so be prepared for Irish accents, which I love. I love Irish accents, and to get your heart a little shook. Proceed with caution if you've been in a emotionally frustrating relationship. Some may say toxic. I say emotionally difficult. Okay, so the next show I want to talk about is Unreal. If any of you guys are a fan of the Bachelor franchise, then you will absolutely love this show. Unreal is basically the fictionalized version of what goes on behind the scenes of a reality show centered around love, which basically like is The Bachelor. If you watch the show, you're like, this is about The Bachelor. And it was created by an ex-Bachelor producer, so when I say the show is insane, I mean literally insane. Obviously anybody with like a working brain understands how heavily produced these shows are, but when you see like the potential scenarios that these producers can be in and how they react, it's really like, and I've worked in reality TV space before, even though it wasn't as like dramatic as it was on the show, you kind of like do have to like not really care about the people like a little bit, because you're trying to make good TV, you know? Like you can't make good TV if you're protecting people, which is really sad. Basically what you see during the show is how oftentimes it can be taken too far and how these producers on this show exploit people. Very juicy, saucy stuff. But yeah, the show is really good and you should check it out. Okay, I know the show is hella old, but just let me have it. Because I've talked to many people who haven't watched this show before, and very questionable. The Handmaid's Tale. I had to actually look it up to see if it was Handmaiden's Tale or Handmaid's Tale. What is Handmaid's Tale? WTF. This show reminds me of a dystopian version of the already dystopian United States. So basically, to sum this show up, it is occurring in a future version of the United States where the United States government has fallen to the super mega Christian totalitarian-esque government that places extreme infringements on women's rights and agency. Basically because of some like pollution that has happened, it has made lots of women infertile. So basically what happens is they gather up all of the fertile women and give them to these super rich families with barren women, and you probably already know where I'm going. They have the baby for the, yeah, You can take it from me, like this show is really good because I don't like dark shows, but this show was done so beautifully. It was so captivating, it was so dark and mysterious, and also so raw and real. The actors were phenomenal. Like this show was so good, and I think it is a must watch, especially now during this time. Even though it is dystopian, you can see a lot of parallels to the world now. Okay, let's talk about this show. Dollface, love it. So you know the type of girl that when she gets a boyfriend, she literally like vanishes into thin air and you only ever hear from her when her and her boyfriend are having problems. So like literally the worst type of girl in the world. The main character of this story is one of those girls, and in like the first episode, her boyfriend dumps her, and then she realizes she has like no friends because her entire world revolves around her boyfriend. And it basically shows us how she reintegrates herself back into real life, and by real life I mean like relationships with women. And a reason why I love this show is because it explores like female relationships in a really beautiful way and like shows the importance of why girls need girls. I also love this show because there is a kitty narrator, like an old woman body and an old woman voice but a kitty face. I don't know if you would call it like magical realism, but there are a lot of like hallucination, imagination aspects of the show, which I thought was really, really cool. And also a kitty narrator. The plot is fire, the actors are fire. First of all, we have Kat Dennings, Shay Mitchell, and Brenda Song. What more could you want? Check this out if you want to watch a feel-good show about women relationships. Okay, this is literally one of my favorite shows because, wow. Almost lost my breath there. So this show is about a woman who faces age discrimination. Basically in her 20s, she got married and pregnant, so she couldn't work anymore. Or actually, I should say chose not to work anymore. However, she is getting a divorce and her daughter's in college and she wants to reinvent herself, so she wants to go back to work. However, she faces age discrimination because they think she's too old to be working. So, to drink her sorrows, her and her friend go to a bar that night where this gorgeous man mistakes her for a 27-year-old. So her and her friend are like, oh my gosh, if he thought you were 27, you could pose as a 27-year-old and get a job. So she does, and she succeeds. Basically, the whole story follows her spinning all of these lies so she can keep up with the story she's created, and we see like, is she gonna be successful? Is she not? And it's really awesome. This show is so good. I love the characters. Also, Hilary Duff is in it, and who doesn't love Hilary Duff? Like, she's just aged so beautifully. The only thing that doesn't make sense about this show is the woman who's pretending to be 27, like fully does not look like a 27-year-old. But besides that, so good. Okay, so here's a little two-part you should watch. I know a lot of people growing up watched The Fosters. I know I did, but if you haven't, it's a really good show. It's about this lesbian couple. One is a white cop, one is a biracial teacher, and it shows their life as they raise one biological child and foster a bunch of children. And I think it's really cool because the show follows the couple's personal problems, the children's problems, and how this blended family interacts with one another. I really like this show a lot. However, this isn't the show I want to talk about, but it is connected to the show I want to talk about because it's a spin-off of The Fosters. You don't need to watch The Fosters to watch this show, but it basically would provide more context for Callie and Mariana's relationship. So, the show that I do want to talk about is called Good Trouble. And Good Trouble follows two characters, Callie and Mariana, who are adopted sisters who start off their young adult journey as working professionals in Los Angeles. They live in this co-living facility called The Coterie, and it has this very eclectic group of people. You have a gorgeous artist, you have a community activist, you have a plus-size influencer who also wants to be a teacher, you have Callie and Mariana, you have an Asian woman who's confused about her sexuality, you also have this like lone wolf degenerate older man who like sleeps with everything that moves. It's an eclectic group of people living in this co-living facility, and it follows the journey of the people living in the coterie, but also more importantly Callie and Mariana's life. Callie is progressive and working as a clerk under this conservative judge, and Mariana is a Latino woman who is entering the very male white dominated tech industry. And Gael, you should watch for him because wow, things that we didn't know that we needed, but like, yes. Okay, this next show is called Greek, which is an old ABC show, and I didn't even know it existed, but I loved ABC shows when I was growing up. I actually found it on Hulu during a deep dive one day during quarantine because I was like, there's literally nothing to watch on TV, and I found it and I was like, oh my gosh, a really cute story about college, especially because I like literally hated my college so much. It was really fun to watch a show about college students in a really like romanticized, cute way. It's about this younger brother and sister who attend the same college, and they're both involved in Greek life, and it shows their journey with getting close to one another, their own personal relationships, their family issues, all of that stuff. There's still like a ton of drama, don't get me wrong, but if you want to watch one of those like really feel-good, cute college stories, then this is a show for you. Last but not least, The Bold Type. Oh my god, this show is just chef's kiss. Think like a much younger version of Sex and the City. The Bold Type is a story that follows these three best friends that all work at the same fashion magazine. And one is a social media manager, another is a writer, another is an assistant with dreams of working in fashion. Basically, through this show, we get a sneak peek into their lives and how they wish to dominate their industry, each in their own way. This show basically marries like a sexy young adult journey with discussions about complex issues such as xenophobia, sexuality, women's health, family issues, just to name a few. They're navigating all of that while leaning on each other for friendship. I like the show so much because the friend group is so dynamic. And just like in Good Trouble, which I think honestly they do it better in The Bold Type, they talk about real life issues in a non-cringy way and also very like provocative. What's even cooler, which is something I didn't even realize till I was researching the show, is that it's based on people's real life events. So when I was looking it up, somebody was like, why do these situations seem so real? And it was because it's literally based on someone's real life. People love this show, so you should definitely check it out if you're looking for that very young, fun girl vibe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I know there's way less shows in this one than the last one, but that's just because Netflix's catalog is just endless. But I think it's also better, like, you know, less options to choose from. So if you're anything like me with selection anxiety, I think I've made it easier for you. Some shows that I definitely want to watch on Hulu that I haven't checked out yet are Gravity Falls, Little Fires Everywhere, Shameless, Your Honor, and This Is Us. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any suggestions for me, please let me know down below. Also, let me know if you've watched any of these shows before, and we can like kiki together in the comments. And I can't wait to see you guys later. Bye.